Hey guys, CalebX01 here, and welcome back for another Top 10 series episode. And for today's Top 10, we are doing Top 10 direct sequels or Top 10 Part 2s to horror movies, obviously. It doesn't need to be a franchise, or it can be, but just Top 10 Part 2s. This was a really hard list to put together, which, you guys out there in the horror community, you guys would know how many great sequels, Part 2s there are out there, and I had so many lined up, but of course, I can only do my top 10, so many got taken out, which sucked. I'm thinking I might have to do a top 10 overlooked sequels, because that was a big part of it. I was like, man, I really want to put this on my list, because I feel like not a lot of people have seen it or don't give it a chance, because maybe the first one isn't so great. So maybe that's an idea too. Speaking of ideas, guys, feel free to drop in the comments, a top 10 list you want to see, or even a ranking list, because I've got my ranking series as well. Feel free to put ideas down in the comments, guys. I can't promise that I'll do them, but yeah, put something in my train of thought, something that I know you guys want to see, so feel free to do that. But anyway, I did narrow it down to my top 10. Yeah, I feel like positions almost from 5 to 10 could have been interchangeable with so much stuff on my shelf and so many other part 2s I've seen, but narrowed it down to my top 10. And we know these top 10 videos take a while, so let's get straight into it. Coming in at number 10 is Pet Sematary 2. I feel like this may surprise a lot of people. I'm a huge fan of the first Pet Sematary. It's obviously played a lot more serious than this one. The first one's a lot scarier. And just overall, I think the better made movie. But I have so much fun with Pet Sematary 2. That's what it is. This movie is just fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's humor thrown in there. Some really dark comedy. But also, there are scares and a lot of thrills, and I have so much fun with this one. And maybe it's not one of the best part 2s out there, but for me, I had to put it in my top 10. It just clipped in, but at the end of the day, I have a lot of fun with this movie, so I feel like I had to include it in my top 10. So, and I feel like maybe this is one that maybe your average horror fan may have skipped over or not checked out, but if you just want to have a bit of fun and maybe check out something you haven't seen, Pet Sematary 2, I definitely recommend. Sorry, I got a bit of phlegm caught in my throat. We're going to try and do this all in one take as well. Alright. Coming in at number 9, maybe another one to surprise people. It always seems like my low half of my top 10 surprise a lot of people, but Anaconda 2, obviously, they're all going to be part 2s. I don't know why I keep saying Anaconda 2, but Anaconda 2, Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I did a review on this not too long ago, and this is one I grew up loving. I loved it just as much as the original Anaconda, but over years I watched the original a lot more, and I hadn't seen the second one in a long time, but revisiting it, it just all clicked in my head. So many memories, and I just remembered why I love it so much. I highly doubt, I can almost guarantee I'm going to say 95% of people will not have this movie in their top 10 direct sequels. I can almost guarantee that, but that's okay, because this is my personal top 10. Feel free to drop yours in the comments. But I love this movie. Just a great time from start to finish. The ball gets rolling straight away, and from the word go, you have so much fun. So definitely check this out. Also check out my review. I'm going to just plug myself for a second there, but Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid, that's my number 9. Alright. Coming in at number 8, this is a movie that I haven't watched since it came out, and that almost jeopardized it. Jeopardized, is that the word? I don't know. Almost gave up its spot on the list just purely because I haven't seen it since it's come out. But I've seen it twice, and that is The Strangers Prey at Night. Um, what I've heard is not a lot of people really loved this one, maybe at least not as much as what I did. And to be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Strangers. I mean, it's creepy, I just think it's a little slow, a little bit too boring. I'm just always waiting for something to happen. Good atmosphere, and, very chilling, but, yeah, maybe just not my thing. And this one went more of the straight up slasher route, which, fans of the original may have not liked that approach, but I definitely loved it. This cat and mouse through like this trailer park setting, so cool. The killers they were a standout in the first movie as well, but I feel like they just picked up even more here in the sequel. So, Strangers Prey at Night. Maybe if you've heard bad things about this, maybe give it a chance, because it does play the more traditional slasher route, cat and mouse. But I had so much fun with this. As I said, almost didn't make it just purely because I haven't seen it in a long time, and to be honest, I've only seen it twice, but that's how much I liked it, so it is my number 8. Here's another pretty recent part 2 as well, and that is It Chapter 2. I know a lot of people didn't like this one, and I get it. For an ending, it is honestly a little bit of a letdown, but overall, just the movie as a whole, really loved it. I love the bounce between the kid cast and their adult versions. I love the casting of, because they really do look like the kids grown up, and they act exactly like the kids. I think the casting in this movie is great. Once again, I love Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He is amazing, stills the show. It does drag on a little bit, but obviously I have it here at my number 7 in my top 10, so I definitely do like this movie. I know I like it more than what a lot of people did, because, I feel like the general consensus is the first It is better, and it probably is, but I definitely did like It Chapter 2, so that's why it's my number 7. Sort of skimmed over that one. I don't want this video to go too long, so I'm up to my 1. Alright, coming in at my number 6. This is maybe an overlooked sequel, and definitely to one of the most underrated horror franchises out there, and that is Psycho 2. If you're part of the horror community, you'll know that there's 4 Psycho films, but I remember when I picked up Psycho 2, 3, and 4, all my family and friends that I told I picked it up, they're like, Psycho has sequels, and I'm like, yep. And Psycho 2 is probably my favourite of all the sequels. Really, really good. I just like the mood of the movie, honestly. There are parts where the movie is really slow, but I don't care. I just like the vibe the movie gives, and this mood, and I like how we have Norman Bates coming back into society, and I just like his interactions with people. Obviously, Anthony Perkins does amazing, again, as Norman Bates. A really overlooked sequel, and once again, to a really overlooked horror franchise, because 3 and 4 are also really good, so had to put in Psycho 2 as my number 6. Really, really good movie. Alright. Coming in at my number 5, one that I pretty much forgot all about until I was preparing for this top 10 list, and I can't believe I almost forgot about it, and that is Bride of ReAnimator. I don't need to keep saying this, but obviously that's ReAnimator Part 2. And if I'm being completely honest, Bride of ReAnimator is my favourite out of the trilogy. So fucking good. I don't know, there's just something about it where I thought it just stepped up its game. I'm not saying ReAnimator is a bad movie at all, but I just feel like Bride of ReAnimator just took it to the next level, and from start to finish, it's such a fucking good time, and I have a blast with it. And, yeah, I'm sure all of you have seen it, but yeah, definitely one. If you haven't, check it out. I love Bride of ReAnimator. Not to say ReAnimator is the most straightforward played movie, but I definitely feel like Bride also turns up the quirkiness and goes a little bit more crazy and balls to the wall. But yeah, that just adds to why I love it. So Bride of ReAnimator, my number 5. I feel like we're making good time. I've got 4 left at 10 minutes. Going pretty good. Alright. Coming in at number 4. Definitely a comfort movie of mine, as in I can just chuck it on whatever mood I'm feeling. Even if I'm not fully paying attention, I just know this film back to front. I just love watching it all the time. Creepshow 2. Yeah, just what can I say about Creepshow 2? Just it has everything going for it. The raft is probably my favourite segment in this. If you don't know Creepshow somehow, this is an anthology film. The raft is my favourite story in it, but I also love Old Chief Woodenhead. The hitchhiker at the end is probably my least favourite story in there, but honestly, I do think this anthology goes 3 for 3. It's so fucking good, and as I said, I can watch it at any time. I have it on in the background. Even if I'm just listening to it, I enjoy it. Yeah, I can't tell you, I mean this in the nicest way, like I'm giving props to the movie, but how many times I've just fallen asleep to this movie because I can just put it on late at night. I know what's going on, I just love it, and I eventually do fall asleep, but it's just so comforting, this movie for me. So Creepshow 2, I'm sure everyone knows it, and maybe not a surprise for a top 10 because I feel like it's a very, very popular movie. Alright, down to my top 3 now. And coming in at number 3 is Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddys Revenge. This is my Nightmare on Elm Street set, so I guess we're talking about this one here, Freddys Revenge, Elm Street Part 2. I spoke about this recently in one of my videos, but I can't remember which video it was, but I remember not a lot of people liking Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I get it, it's a lot more quirky than the original. The original is played fairly straightforward, obviously some fun moments in there, some cool one-liners and stuff, but definitely played more straightforward than the sequel. But yeah, not a lot of people like that one, and from my first time seeing it, I've loved Elm Street Part 2, and I didn't understand why people didn't. But it's good because I feel like over recent time a lot of people have jumped on board with Freddy's Revenge, and it's starting to get a lot more fans, and maybe the credit that it deserves, because this movie is so much fun as well. It's probably in my top 3 for the franchise, or maybe top 4. I don't know, I'll have to do a ranking list on the Elm Street franchise too, but yeah, Freddy's Revenge, so much fun, and as I said, I'm just so happy that now it's getting the props that I feel like it always deserved, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people have seen this one, so I don't need to say go out and check it out, because I'm sure everyone's seen it, but Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, love it, that's my number 3. Down to my final 2. Alright. Coming in at my number 2 is Friday the 13th Part 2. I just sort of laughed to myself then, because if you've seen my Friday the 13th franchise ranking video, this came in at number 2 also, so it can't quite knock the number 1 position on any list, but obviously I have it at my number 2, so I love this movie. From start to finish, it's just a good time, I have so much fun. I guess a spoiler if you somehow haven't seen the franchise, but first movie where Jason is the killer, just seeing him run around the camp and pick off these teenagers, some who deserve it, some who don't, doesn't matter, you just love to see it. This movie is just so much fun, and I can't get enough of it. I can't praise this movie enough. I could talk about it all day, but Friday the 13th Part 2, I'm sure everyone's checked it out. My number 2. Alright. we are finally at number 1, and once again, I feel like if you know me personally, people out there, you will know what my favourite sequel is, because it's one of my, it'd be easily in my top 3 horror movies of all time, maybe top 5, and that's Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2 is awesome. The franchise in general is one of my favourite franchises of all time. Definitely has their misses, but even their bad movies are sort of charming. I'm getting off topic, but part 2, it's the fucking perfect film. I can watch it whenever. Chucky is awesome. He's in the realm where he's starting to get a little bit more personality. You know, he's having a few one-liners, but he's also scary. He's smart. He's thinking. He's calculating. He is angry. Chucky's just at his best in this movie, honestly. The story is great. This whole cat and mouse that he still has with Andy. I like the addition of, what's her name? Kyle in this movie. She's awesome. What a great character to add to the franchise. Child's Play 2, I hold it on this pedestal, and I always am, because it's such a great movie, and as I said, I'm sure I feel like my top 5, every horror fan, or even if you're not a horror fan, you may have seen these movies. So Child's Play 2, this was pretty much a slam dunk for number 1. I couldn't imagine anything else taking its place. So there's my top 10. We'll quickly do a recap like I like to do at the end of my top 10. I just got to pick up my pile again. Alright. And I feel like this video didn't go too long, so that's pretty good. So my number 10, Pet Sematary 2, just snuck in, but it's just such a fun film. Anaconda 2, Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I'm gonna stop saying Anaconda. I'm gonna stop saying 2 or Part 2, because this is a list of top 10 Part 2, so I'm gonna stop saying that now. Hunt for the Blood Orchid. Guarantee no one else would have this in their top 10, but who gives a shit? My list. Number 8, Strangers Prey at Night. Like, even I'm thinking maybe this could have just slipped out, but yeah, I don't know. I'll leave it now. Obviously, it's too late. But I do really like that movie. Nothing against the movie, just how many times I've watched it maybe hasn't earned its spot in the top 10, but It Chapter 2, I know a lot of people didn't like this one, but obviously I did. Really underrated one. If you haven't checked this out, definitely do. My number 6, Psycho 2. Rounding off my top 5, Bride of ReAnimator. Such a good, quirky movie. I love Jeffrey Combs too. Didn't mention that. And my top 4, Creepshow 2, just such a good comfort movie. Elm Street, Freddys Revenge. Such a great film in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So happy it's getting love. I can't say that enough, because, I just didn't understand the hate, honestly. Friday the 13th Part 2. And then capping off, as I said, number 1, it was pretty much locked in stone from the get-go. Did I just say get-go? Fucking get-go. Child's Play 2. Just such a great movie. One of my favourites of all time. It was just 100% going to be in there. But we'll leave my top 10 there, guys. It's gone on maybe a little too long now. I was checking the clock and I was going, okay, it's not running too bad. And now it's almost at 20 minutes. Sorry about that. But once again, I feel like I got it all done in one take. I just want to apologise again, guys, for the lack of content over the past few weeks, 2 weeks, I think it was. Sorry about that, but I'm trying to get back on top of it. And, I feel like I had a good idea then. Guys, feel free to drop in ideas in the comments. Top 10 lists, rankings, maybe even reviews that you want me to do. As I said, I can't promise that I'll do them, but, I'll definitely keep them in the back of my mind and try and get on top of them. But Thank you again, guys, for joining me for another top 10. Really enjoyed doing that list, and I'll see you guys again soon.